It is Ida Malik, Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Recap. So, August 2022, the final month of summer, well, at least the box office summer. And boy, it was just sad times, to say the least. I mean, you look at May, June, July, you see like a lot of success, a lot of big movies making all sorts of bank. Movies like Doctor Strange 2, Top Gun Maverick, Jurassic World Dominion, Minions 2, Thor Love and Thunder, even movies like Elvis and Black Phone and Nope, and Where the Crawdads Sing all do really well. And then you have August, and all that momentum died. It was really tragic, but there's still quite a bit to talk about. Some interesting things went down in August. And as usual, I'm going to be comparing my own personal predictions to what actually happened because I find that to be fun. Okay, so let's get started. So, the first week of August, we had summer's swan song, as I put it, in the form of Bullet Train, the biggest movie of August by several miles. It wasn't even close. But yeah, Bullet Train. I was a little overzealous with my prediction. I kind of, I think I thought of this movie a little too highly. I predicted it would open between like 35 and 45 million. It only opened to 30, which I thought was a tad underwhelming. It's not a terrible number, but it's just kind of meh. Especially considering this had the distinction of been like the last big movie of the summer. One would think that would drive more people to watch it, but nope. That didn't quite happen, but it has legs, decent legs too. It had a bit of a rough drop with 55%. That's not a terrible drop, but it's still noticeable, and that kind of put its chances of 100 million in jeopardy. But after that, it has rebounded, it has stopped bleeding. And last weekend, for Labor Day weekend, thanks to National Cinema Day, was able to increase. And as of Friday, the 9th, it's hit $90 million. So it can realistically crawl past 100 million, which would be very, very good for this movie. It'll only be the second R-rated movie to hit 100 million domestic in the pandemic. The first was Nope. So this will likely be number two. So that's good. Overall, instead of being like a big hit, it'll be a more of a moderate sized hit. Like it did good, but not great. So that kind of stings a little bit. But it still did way better than every single movie that came out in August. So it has that going for it. So yeah. That was Bullet Train, and I have seen Bullet Train. In fact, it was the only movie I watched in theaters in August. I meant to watch Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I meant to watch 3,000 Years of Longing. I meant to watch Dragon Ball Super Superhero. None of those worked out. But I saw Bullet Train Thursday night because I had a lot of interest in it. It looked great, and I wanted to see it as soon as possible. The only other movie I really saw in August was on Netflix, and that was the Rise of the TMNT movie, which came out the same day as Bullet Train. So I was there for the beginning of August, and then I fell off the rest of August. So yeah, but Bullet Train did good. Now, time to go to like I guess the opposite end of the spectrum with Easter Sunday. Oof. Wow. Ugh. Now, my prediction video, I said it would open between 5 to 7 million, mainly because I just did not see any real interest or hype at all. I knew it would be a non starter, and lo and behold, it was a non starter, only opened with 5.4 million, which is really not great. But I thought, with August being as weak as it is, it might have decent legs. I was wrong. His legs were terrible. It fell 56%, which is really bad for a comedy. For action, in horror, like a drop like that is good. It's acceptable. For comedy, that's terrible. And then it kept falling off a cliff. And now it has reached, it might crawl past 13 million. So it won't even reach the 20 million. I think I think it was like 15 to 20. It won't even reach that. So this is pretty pathetic, to say the least. But I can't say I'm surprised. I mean, it's clear, like, I imagine Joe Coy here has fans, but clearly not enough fans because the box office says he doesn't have enough fans. Because if he had tons of fans, where were they? Um, and I guess this is another. Well, I guess when it comes to comedy, we haven't had a lot of success with that this year. I mean, we've had Jackass Forever, we've had The Lost City, and that's about it when it comes to live action comedies. I don't count family friendly movies or animated movies in that regard. So, yeah, this is a bad performance and not much else to say. But even Easter Sunday did better than every movie that came out the week after the 12th. This was the true death of summer 2022. It really was. Let's go through these in order. Let's go through the corpses in order. Well, the one that did the best of the sad bunch was Bodies, 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 which had a limited start and then it had a wide release the 12th. And it lived up to my predictions, more or less. I predicted it would open between 3 to 5 million, and lo and behold, it hit 3.1. And it has now reached a total of about to inch past 11 million. So, and I said its final total would be like around 10 million, and it hit that. So, I'm satisfied. I knew this wouldn't be a massive hit because, like with A24, it's like how like Forrest Gump said, it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. You know, sometimes you get an everything everywhere all at once. Sometimes you get a men. Okay, it's very inconsistent. And you know what? It was still the number one movie, at least the number one new movie that weekend. The fact that the new number one movie, well, not number one as in number one, but the best new movie only made 3 million opening weekend really tells you how horrible the second week of August was. And it wasn't even the worst week of August. We're going to get to that soon enough. But Bodies, 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 it did all right for what it is. And it certainly did better than the other two movies. So next up is Fall, a movie that had like no real advertising at all. I remember seeing a trailer for it. I think it was in front of the Black Phone. And then that was it. I saw like no YouTube ads for this at all. And I was like, is this getting released? And then it did get released. It felt more like a stealth release. But yeah, so Fall. I predicted it would open between, I think it was 1 to 2 million. It would make like 3, 4, 5 million total, but it has surpassed my expectations, which isn't saying a whole lot because it opened with 2.5 million and has now made 6.5 million. Yeah, yeah. Which, I mean, still not good at all. But apparently, I heard like this was kind of an experimental release for Lionsgate. Did the experiment work? From these numbers, I'm gonna say no, but who knows? I guess Lionsgate wasn't expecting a whole lot from a movie like this, so didn't do great. Didn't set the world on fire at all, and there's not much else to say. And now to the worst performing movie that weekend, Mac and Rita. Oof. Now I predicted it would open with like $1 million, and it hit $1 million. Yay. And then its final total tally, I think it was like 2, 3, 4 million and only hit like 2.5. So that's really pathetic. And I heard word of mouth was like really toxic. Like it had like a cinema score of a D plus, which you rarely see nowadays. And look at these drop offs, like God. 65%, 74%, 71%. It's absolutely horrific. Did Fall do any better? That was 47%. So that had a good drop off. This did not. So yeah, did not expect anything out of this movie, and I got nothing out of this movie. So yeah. And literally nothing else to say. It came out and it died. That's it. uh so that was the second weekend of August, a real bloodbath to say the least. And yes, I know the ET got re-released on IMAX, as did Rogue One. I mean, ET's been re-released before. It was re-released like 20 years ago. And with the IMAX re-release, it only did meh. Like it did well one week and then it died the next. Same goes for the Rogue One re-release was literally just an advertisement for Andor, which will be on Disney Plus later this month. So no real point in talking about those movies. So we're gonna move on. Okay, August 19th. Two movies came out, and it was a whole lot better than the weekend prior. You can definitely say that. So first off, Beast. Part of me felt like this could have been a real sleeper hit because of the type of movie it was. I mean, the basic premise of Idris Elba versus Lion. I mean, actor versus animal has worked before. Jason Statham versus shark in The Meg, or Liam Neeson versus wolf in The Grey. It's been done before, but as like the movie became closer and closer to releasing, I realized, maybe this won't be the hit that I thought it would be. So I lowered my expectations. I predicted it only open with like 10 million, and it did better than that by a bit, 11.5. But its legs haven't been too great, but it will reach my 30 million prediction. Yeah, its legs, it's kind of iffy. Like, I had a 58% drop, which, ugh. Definitely not great, but thanks to Labor Day, it was able to hold on a bit better. And Friday, it hit 28 million. So 30 million seems to be, it should hit over 30 million. But the thing is, the movie costs like 36 million, and I don't see it doubling that because overseas has been weak. So that's not great, but I guess it could have been worse. But yeah, not great. But it definitely did better than Idris Elba's other movie that came out last month, which I will talk about in due time. But Beast, you were third best, third best of August, which is not something I'd be bragging about personally. And then the last movie of that weekend, Dragon Ball Super Superhero. This was the last. Well, I thought Bullet Train would be the last real gasp of summer, but really it was Dragon Ball. Now, obviously, the last few years, anime has been doing really well in theaters. I mean, Dragon Ball Super Brawly did extremely well back in 2019. Demon Slayer did extremely well last year. Jujutsu Kaisen Zero did really well earlier this year. So naturally, I was like, this should do well because it's anime and it has that brand name recognition. So I predicted it would open between 20 and 25 million opening weekend, and that's what it hit with 21 million. Now, this 30 million number is a bit misleading because it's really like it was the result of from like its second weekend, but it was never updated. I believe its real numbers are above like 35 million. But we gotta talk about its second weekend because my god. Well, actually, we gotta talk about its first weekend though. So had a 4 million preview number, then nearly 11 million opening day. Then it fell 47% Friday to Saturday, which has to be one of the worst Friday to Saturday drop offs ever, at least in recent memory. I mean, we've had some brutal drop offs before, but they were all like in the 30% range, like Doctor Strange 2, Down Abbey 2, Bob's Burgers. They all fell like over 30% Friday to Saturday. This fell nearly half, which is a lot worse. And then second weekend was absolutely horrific. Second Friday, 88%. Oh, like I saw that number and I couldn't believe it. The thing is, I have not seen a Friday to Friday drop this bad since I gotta find it. It was High School Musical 3. About to find it real quickly. Here we go. Which also, like Dragon Ball, had a really strong opening weekend, but even though its drop was well, its Friday drop off 90%, which is just insanity. But the reason for that was because that Friday was Halloween, and Halloween is a death sentence to pretty much every movie that's not a horror movie. So, yeah, the drop off there makes sense because obviously High School Musical skews very young. So, but it was able to recover the rest of the weekend. Dragon Ball, not so much because it fell 78% its second weekend, which isn't too surprising considering anime movies are notoriously front loaded. A lot of them drop around the 70% range, but this is even more extreme. In fact, I don't know if I'm right about this. I think I am. But I believe this is the second worst drop off for like a number one movie. The number one I know is Friday the 13th from 2009. That fell 80%. No movie has been able to really top that, but this came close. Real close. But really it doesn't matter because it's surpassed Brawly domestically. And although it won't reach my 40, it likely won't reach my 40 to 50 million range, still did well enough to not be an embarrassment and be one of the only bright spots of August. And more proof, undeniable proof, that anime sells in theaters. So, yeah, nothing else really to say, but Dragon Ball Super Super Brawly, you did well. You did really well. Opening weekend, sure, you fell off a cliff after that, but still did well. Still surpassed, I guess you surpassed like a lot of people's expectations. So, yeah, that was August 19th. Now, ideally, a month should end with a bang. It should end with like a strong movie, or at least some decent ish movies. Like, May ended with Top Gun Maverick, June ended with Elvis and the Black Phone, July even ended with DC League of Super Pets, which has only done meh in the grand scheme of things. August, what does it end with? The Invitation and 3,000 Years of Longing and Breaking. So sad, sad ending. Because apparently August just had to be worse. So let's go through these. Breaking. Didn't expect much out of this at all because I literally had no idea this was coming out until like a day before Friday. On Thursday, I saw it as a wide release. I was like, huh? I was thrown off. And I was like, okay then. Because let me tell you, I really hate it when movies just like sneak up on me. Like, I'd like to be prepared for movies when they come out, the way I have all my thoughts in order. And then you have a movie come out the last minute, it throws me off. I hate it. But Breaking, I predicted it would open between 500,000 and $1 million. It almost hit a million, just right on the edge. And its total right now is 2.4 million. looking at where it is, I don't see it getting much higher than that. So, yeah, not surprised. I mean, the fact is you can't just release a movie in theaters and then just expect it to make money. You have to advertise the movie. Okay? You have to make people you got to make sure people know it exists. And they didn't do that, and lo and behold, nobody showed up. So, yeah, this number doesn't surprise me at all, really. And I guess it's another L for Bleecker Street. Yeah, they've been releasing just bombs this whole year to the point where you have to ask, like, how much longer can they last? Because you can only release so many bombs before you go under. Although Disney, really all the big studios, Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Sony, Universal, they've all released plenty of bombs and they're still around. So, but they're big. Bleecker Streak is not big, so it's a lot worse for them. Next, The Invitation. The good news about this movie is that it was number one at the box office. It won. Bad news. Did it though? Did it truly win? I mean, technically it did, but it didn't feel like a winner because it only opened with 6.8 and it still won the weekend. Yeah. That number. That was your number one for that weekend. That Oh, I think that's the worst. In fact, this was the first time since the second week of Spiral, and that was like May of 2021, where we had a number one movie, not make double digits, which is really terrible because we've had so much growth since May of 2021. That's when we had A Quiet Place Part 2 come out that the end of the month and start start a new era. I mean, sure there were movies that came out before then that helped out, Godzilla vs. Kong, Mortal Kombat, Demon Slayer, but Quiet Place Part 2 really got the ball truly rolling. And then it's like we're just back at square one now. All that progress just wiped out. And it's just terrible. It didn't even reach my prediction either. Like I thought it opened between like 7 to 8 million and did just under that. So that's not great. But to its credit, it will likely surpass my original prediction. I predicted between 15 to 20 million. It's hit 16, almost 17 now as of, Friday. So it should go past 20 million, which is better than I expected considering reviews and audience scores were not good at all. But I guess people were just that damn desperate for entertainment. At least that's what I think. Um, so while these numbers aren't great, I mean the movie wasn't super expensive anyway, so it'll survive. It won't thrive, but it will survive, and that's better than nothing. So, and it was number one, albeit a weak number one. So, good job, The Invitation, I guess. And last, and really feels like, well, technically not least, but it's definitely a low note. 3,000 Years of Longing. Oof, this makes me sad. I predicted it would open between with 5 million. That's what I thought would happen. It only opened with like 2.9. So I took a real L here. And its final total, I predicted like 15 to 20 million. That's not happening at all. Because, well, even for like Labor Day and with National Cinema Day, it still kind of fell off. And I don't see it doing much better after this. I don't see this hitting double digits, which is a really sad thing to say because I was looking forward to this movie. I saw the trailer and it really caught my eye, and I wanted to see it, but things didn't work out, and now it's probably gonna leave theaters real fast. And it's just sad. I mean, this was George Miller's first movie since Mad Max Fury Road, and everyone loved Mad Max Fury Road. So they're one of the greatest action movies of all time, and then you have this, which was an wholly original movie, and I thought that would really help it out because, as you know, people do get tired of franchise films. You know, sequels, prequels, reboots, adaptations. Like people kind of get sick of it after a while, and they want something wholly original. I mean, look at Everything Ever All at Once. That was wholly original, and it did extremely well. And even a movie like Nope did really well for an original movie. Granted, it's because of Jordan Peele, and he's a brand within himself. But people like originality, and people just did not flock to see this, and it's sad. I do plan on watching this eventually. So, yeah, but yeah. So Idris Elba technically took 2 L's in August. That's a very sad thing to say. But he had Sonic the Hedgehog 2 earlier this year. So it wasn't like a complete wipeout for him. But yeah, yeah. That's it. And that was August. Yeah, it was just absolutely depressing. Like it started out weak and then it got really weak and then it went up and then it went right back down again. So, yeah, it's a real sad end to summer 2022 because with again May, June, July were really good for the most part. Lots of success. Lots of big movies coming out. People actually going to the cinema. And then August happened and all that momentum just died. And September is not looking much better. I mean, sure, you had Labor Day and you had like National Cinema Day, which did get a lot of people to go out to the theater, but that was only because tickets were like $3. Like, who wouldn't go? Well, I couldn't go because I had work, but if I didn't have work, I probably would have gone because it's $3 a ticket. People were complaining about ticket prices like they're too expensive, $10 to $15 too much. Then you got $3. Of course, everybody's gonna go. It's a lot more appealing. But even then, that it feels like a band aid to the gaping wound that is the box office. So yeah. So that's it for August. That's it for the video. I guess I might as well ask, did you see any of these movies in August? Any of them at all? I know I already mentioned I saw Bullet Train, but I imagine some of you saw Bullet Train and Dragon Ball Superhero, and that's about it. But let me know in the comments. Now, the next recap video, there's two of them. They're both coming next week. It's a two-parter. Summer 2022 box office recap. The winners and the losers. I'll do the winners first, and then I'll do the losers. Winners, oof. I know for a fact winners is going to be longer than the losers. Because when it comes to the losers, there was no real catastrophes, or at least big scale catastrophes, besides Lightyear. Besides that, it's everything else is more low key. With success, we got a lot to talk about, especially with one Top Gun Maverick. We're going to talk about that quite a bit. But those are coming next week, so stay tuned. And yeah, that's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn notifications, share the whole drill. I already mentioned the two-parter I'm doing next week. I guess September recap, that'll come out the first week of October, so stay tuned for that. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. Um, Technically earlier today I did make one about Inside Out 2, Inside Out 2, Wish, Elio, all getting release windows for the next 2 years. So if you want to watch that episode or any other episodes I've done, all 152 up to this point, go right ahead. I know with some of these movies here in August, I did talk about them. I know I talked about Bullet Train a few times. I think I talked about Easter Sunday once. I think may have talked about Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I know I talked about Dragon Ball Super Superhero twice. I know I talked about The Invitation, but that was when it was called The Bride. That's about it. So if you want to watch any of the past canceled episodes I've made, go right ahead, binge it all from beginning to now. Highly encourage it. Go do that. There's also box office predictions where I predict box office for movies. Yesterday, I did predictions for Barbarian and Brahmastria Part 1 Shiva. I did predictions for those. So I want to know my predictions for those or any other ones I've done earlier this year, or in the ones that for all the movies I mentioned in this video. You want to watch any of those predictions, go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.